And now, an hour of mental elevation for divine inspiration. The What If God Were One of Us show. With your host, Adeeb Shabazz.
Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is Adeeb Shabazz, your host of the What If God Were One of Us show. And I'm so glad to be back on the air after over a year's hiatus. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, welcome to the show. For those of you who are returning, thank you for sticking with me. And I'm glad to be on Inner Light Radio now. It's a wonderful transition, and a special welcome to those of you from the Inner Light Radio family who are tuning in to me for the first time, or perhaps for not the first time. But I'm glad to address you today with a couple of exciting things that we have going on. First, we're going to actually be going over a few things about me, my book, this show, what it's all about. But I'm going to go ahead and let you know who our guests are today. We have a very exciting agenda for today. We have Dr. Supreme Understanding, and he is the CEO and publisher of Supreme Design Publishing, as well as the CEO of Proven Publishing, of which I am publisher and editor-in-chief of. So it's very exciting, but we're going to be mainly talking about a nonprofit called 360 that he has started, and it's really about getting into the community. It's about really reaching the urban community, especially in our African-American areas, and actually touching people in a way that has not been done before. And we're going to get into that, really getting grassroots and comprehensive as well. I know some of you may say, well, they've had other grassroots movements, but we're going to go ahead and try to spell out why this is a bit different and why we're so excited about it. And also, I have with me in our second segment, Ambrose Horton II. He is also commonly known as Zambi Warhol on our social media, and he is the managing editor of Hop U Multimedia Magazine, which I have the pleasure of being publisher of. And he's going to be telling us a bit about what's going to be going on with Hop U Multimedia Magazine. And also that all ties into the grassroots movement and how we're looking to change the mindset of our people, particularly our youth and our young parents, and really get some help to our people. So it's going to be quite exciting today. Like I said, I want to go over some housekeeping. First of all, for those of you who are not as familiar with me, I am a publisher by trade. I'm also an author, and I have a book called What If God Were One of Us, which this show is named after, and it is in its second edition now. It basically covers recognizing our divine potential and maximizing our divine potential. It is a book that, if I had to compare it to mainstream, would be compared to The Secret. However, I wrote my book before The Secret, just an FYI, and it has nothing to do with actually coming from that perspective. We actually deal more with not only law of attraction, but also law of action and realization. Because as the old Christian saying goes, faith without works is dead. So while we can actually look at what we want to do and visualize what we want to do, which is very important. It is very important because our mindset is the catalyst for everything. But without action, it's going nowhere. So we have to have plans of action that make sense. And that's what my book goes into. That's what this show is all about. So you will find a lot of action-intensive guests, subjects, and events going on through this show. So I hope you enjoy it and are ready to dig right in. If you are interested in finding my book, then you can do so at www.whatifgod.net for the ebook edition. For a physical edition, please contact me directly. Just look me up on Facebook. If you type that in, you'll find it. The direct link is facebook.com/whatifgod. And we'll be sure to go ahead and show you how you can get a copy for yourself. And we are going to go ahead and go into our segment today. Dr. Supreme Understanding was unable to join us live today. However, he did pre-record his session earlier, and we do have that session. So we do apologize, and we send a special return to you, Dr. Supreme Understanding. But we're going to go ahead and listen to his segment, and then we're going to open it up to any comments and questions we have for.
I'm glad to be able to introduce, a very good friend, a business partner, and, just an overall builder in the community, Dr. Supreme Understanding. And we're going to be speaking to him about the 360 movement. But just to give you a brief introduction, he is the publisher and CEO of Supreme Design Publishing, as well as the CEO of Proven Publishing, and a great entrepreneur, great builder in the community. And this 360 movement is powerful. So we thank you, Supreme, for being on the show with us today. I thank you for granting me this interview, as well as, being my first guest on the What If God Were One of Us show as we return from this long hiatus. Peace.
Peace. Oh man, that's a heavy burden to carry, to know that I'm the first guest as the show comes back.
Indeed. And I mean, it's a definite blessing for myself as well as the listeners, because this is something powerful. I mean, just to give you a background, you listeners, that is, the background on what just went on this weekend. I traveled from Savannah to Atlanta and met up with Supreme Understanding, and we got to discuss some business about Proven Publishing, of which I'm taking over the reins of publisher and editor-in-chief there. But we had a powerful meeting about the 360 movement, and that's what this interview is going to be about. And it was just phenomenal, and I'm just going to let Supreme go into that.
Well, I'm just proud to be able to announce this, on your show first. We're going to end up doing a press junket, beginning here, but I'm glad to be able to begin here. I don't know how much I have to build up to explain what the reason for this thing is, but I'll try to be brief with that. I mean, the time for rhetoric has passed. I'm just, I've been involved with the whole world of knowledge and, awareness for quite some time now, and I've committed my life to it, and it's the work that I continue to do now, and it's, pretty much it defines my every waking hour, you know what I mean, if not my hours resting as well. And yet at this point, I've come to a realization that I know many people that that feel the same as me, or that know the same as me, have come to the same realization, which is just that at some point we're going to need to stop engaging in debate and dialogue and discussion, and the dialogue is not a problem. It's just that we're talking about ideas and very little is happening, and it's like, we could criticize and say, oh, well, nobody's doing nothing, and that's not productive either. The question is, when is something going to happen that begins addressing this mountain of problems that we're so well aware of? I mean, and it's not that there's nothing happening, but we need something that's broad. We need something that's systemic. We need something that's nationwide. We need something that's real. We need something that's practical. We need something that people can jump into at no matter what socioeconomic status they're on, no matter what their diet is, no matter what they call their God. People need to be able to come together and begin getting work done in the name of what's right. And
Absolutely. Go ahead. I didn't want to interrupt you.
Currently we really, I mean, the people who have all the information, we don't have anything through which we can actually do this work. And so as a result, we see people that, could have been empowered with knowledge, and some of us tend to act more powerless than anybody else. We act like, it's almost like the knowledge crippled us because, we know what all is wrong, but we're so overwhelmed by the feeling of we can't do nothing that, I don't know, we just argue all day.
All right, so now this whole situation where you saw an opportunity, or rather not only an opportunity but a need to make change in the community, where did you get the particular formula and idea that you came up with?
This whole thing developed from the work we'd already been doing with Supreme Design Publishing. We've just been able to reach so many people in so many places, people that normally weren't readers, people that normally weren't into anything that we would consider like, knowledge or empowering, and just people from all walks of life. The readers that were incarcerated, that were saying that, our books were the knowledge that was circulating through just pretty much every dome and every facility you can imagine. And just people saying that, these books were changing their lives. It made us wonder whether we had a formula that people could really resonate with. And the more that we researched it and asked people and surveyed people, they said that, what the kind of books we were putting together were the kind of books that could really deliver the information that could change communities. The only thing was we had people that wanted to do something, but they just didn't have, they didn't know where to go. They didn't know where they could help out, where they could get involved with different things to build up the community. So some of them were starting their own programs, and it just inspired us to try to organize a network of people that wanted to be what I call solutionaries. And, solutionary being, I forgot where I got this from, but the definition provided was, basically, one who introduces like the way to fix the problem rather than the way to just keep on talking about it. I mean, I'm doing a bad job of paraphrasing, but basically it's just less talk, more action.
Right.
And what if we could find a way to put all this together? And so we just started developing it. We even relaunched our nonprofit to do it because we wanted to start going into the prisons. And we started thinking about a way to solve pretty much all the problems that we encounter in the community. And this became 360 Solutions, which is the name of the nonprofit that is behind all this. And we said, when you start transitioning from what we do at Supreme Design to a model where we can really just engage full-time in not just producing literature, but being able to afford to give away the books, like, which is the kind of stuff you can do when you start embracing a nonprofit model, And we'd have other benefits, too, like we'd be able to go into prisons without the trouble that we go through now, because right now the prisons are giving us a real hard time. And we just realized that we could really, through the work that we already do and through the people that we already have behind us, we really could start making a major change. And people started agreeing with us, and everybody that has been, working with us and that knows about how this thing has been developing, including the people that have attended the class you named. People, it's just been a different feeling. It's just been, for those who have been to the meetings, for those who know what's going on, everybody can attest to just kind of how amazing this stuff is. And that's where this whole 360 movement thing came from. Like it's like it's a movement for people. For a lot of people, Supreme Design was a movement, and I never felt like that should be considered a movement because it didn't give people a way to organize and get involved. And now we're actually going to be able to provide that. And I just can't wait. When people see what we have in store, it just may restore a lot of people's conviction that we can succeed. It may really, I hate to say it, but it may really give us some hope.
Right, and we definitely do need that hope, and we've got to evolve, and then this is what it looks like to me. It looks like evolution. I love the solutionary terminology because we need to move from that which is exclusionary, and some people, label things revolutionary or, some things are obviously exclusionary, but this is solutionary. And, that just sounds inclusive to me. It sounds like it can embrace a large part of our community and actually get them involved. That's the point.
Yeah, and do so without stepping on the toes of anybody else who's doing work in the community already. Because my thing is, everybody that's coming forward to work with us, half of the people are just people from the community. Another half of the people are people who are involved with other organizations, with groups, with nonprofits, with different cultural communities. And so it's like, it's a way that you can actually come together with people from all different walks of life and actually have a common cause. There's nothing, what's better than that? Unless you just want to just debate, you know what I mean? Babies dying left and right, and you just want to debate about whose socks is the most natural. You know what I mean? Like, we look kind of dumb at this point. Like the people that oppress us are kind of laughing at us because they realize that some of our best and brightest are not busy at work, but just pretty much fighting each other.
Right. And it's time for us to get away from that focus of fighting anything, really. In truth, what I hear from you is not fighting anything and not even fighting the system, but rather let us begin to just look at solutions and put our minds towards solutions. There are other people already fighting the system and fighting this and fighting that, but what it has become is fighting each other and clinging to certain ways and mores and cultural ideals and identifications that we're trying to guard. So now it's great that you're introducing something that actually gets to work with everybody.
Right.
And doesn't step on the toes of anybody who's already in motion.
Yeah, exactly. For the most part, man, people who have read our books know the kind of approach that we take where we pretty much address everybody's needs and everybody's positions, man. Really, anybody that's read our books kind of know that we basically reach everybody at their common denominator. We're looking for common ground because common ground is what you build on. And the thing is, you're going to have different people that take different approaches, and what we're going to allow people to do is show people that, there are effective ways to accomplish results. And, for the most part, the one thing that is not going to accomplish no results is sitting somewhere just complaining about it. That's not going to get nothing done. So it's like, well, you can take approach A, you can take approach B, you can go left, you can go right. But, man, either way, you're going to have to go somewhere and do something. And we'll show you some things that you can do. But, look, I'm not interested in all the intellectual debating and all that. That's cool. If we're going to take it through a scientific process to examine something, that's cool. But we ain't going to be arguing. We ain't got time for that no more.
That's true. We definitely don't. Time is for solutions, and I'm glad that you're bringing your solutions to the table, or your proposed solutions, as well as those of us who are working with you, bringing those solutions. That is a great thing. I know there are a lot of people listening now that at least want to know more, want to possibly get involved from what they've already heard. How can they do that at this point?
For right now, what we're doing is while we're building everything up that's going to be online, we decided to use one of our sites, bestblackbooks.com, which is eventually going to host our recommended reading list. But for right now, we're going to use that site to just take emails from people who are interested in learning more about us when we do actually launch not only our educational program, but our business development program and all of our other community change programs that we're going to launch realistically within the next 3 months.
That sounds good. That definitely sounds good. And speaking of books, I know we've been talking about 360, but I don't want to leave out, for those who don't know your work, who you are and what you do. I did introduce you as the publisher of Supreme Design Publishing, and for those who are not familiar, there are some great books out, including When the World Was Black, The Science of Self, How to Hustle and Win, and several other titles that are extremely powerful. Just give the audience a way to get those titles and other titles that you have put out, and that way they can become more familiar with the solutions that you've been providing already, as well as the great research. And it's phenomenal, so they deserve to hear it.
Thank you. We're available online. It's pretty easy to find us online. SupremeDesignPublishing.com, SupremeDesignOnline.com. There's a few other sites. They're all linked to us. But I recommend that people support black bookstores. If you got a black bookstore in your neighborhood, and you've ever you got a chance to talk to the people that make the orders for books, either tell them to request the books if they don't have it. But the chances are good that the bookstores have it now, because pretty much any black bookstore in the country that we know of is carrying our books. And that's a beautiful thing, and we need to keep them open.
That's definitely true, and that's a powerful statement right there. We got to support each other. We definitely have to support each other. So, this is, again, solutions at work, right there in the flesh. All right, well, we thank you for joining us. And, again, for the audience, in case you didn't get it, Supreme Design Publishing is on Facebook. It would be, it'd be best, actually, to follow Supreme Design Publishing on Facebook. Also, SupremeDesignOnline.com. And, of course, support your local bookstores. Your local black bookstores definitely carry Supreme Design Publishing's titles. So check them out. Look for them. And I thank you once again, Supreme, for joining us and giving us this opportunity to interview you and get a peek into what's happening down the pike with 360.
Thanks for having me. Talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you. Well, I'm glad to...
All right. I mean, that was definitely a treat. And again, I would have loved to have had him on live, but you get the idea of what we're going through with 360 and where we're going with it. It's a work in progress. Definitely get in contact with us at blackbooks.com and leave your name and information if you are interested. It is definitely worth it if you are ready to make change in your community. And by the way, that's anywhere in the country. Anywhere in the country. Matter of fact, anywhere in the world, we are willing to go ahead and actually help you online, and as you get your numbers up, travel to you. So with 360, just to go ahead and add on to that, and add my experience with the meeting that we had this past Sunday. It was phenomenal. There were about 36 people present, roughly. I didn't take a head count, but at least 36, could be more. It was a phenomenal meeting, not because of numbers, but because of the sheer energy that was there, the willingness to have everybody not come for a speech, not come for a rah-rah meeting, but come for solution-oriented process. Everybody was working with what we had in hand, going over the process, refining the process, and coming up with things to add on in terms of solutions that we have for the community. And it's a well laid out plan. It's going to be fully revealed soon. So right now we're in our incubator status with 360, looking to go ahead and release that very soon. So if you're interested in getting in on the ground floor of something that's life-changing and earth-changing, definitely contact Supreme and get with him on it. We'll be contacting everyone who leaves their information. But now, if we really have to go ahead and look at what we've been doing. What we've been doing is a lot of personality cult leadership. We've been under a lot of personality cult leadership. We are looking for the next Malcolm, the next Huey. We're looking for the next MLK, some of us. We're looking for those strong, centric leaders. And one thing I noticed from Supreme is that he's trying to stay away from that, not only for himself, but anyone, for that matter, in 360. Really just stay away from that autocratic leader or that centralized leader, because the personality cult is something that we need to move away from. When we study our history from the early 20th century through the mid-20th century and look at all the autocratic leaders, they were able to take our movements down. because we were not built from the bottom up. We weren't built like the pyramids. We were built from the top down, and it's easy to take the top away and the bottom scatters. Kind of like that biblical parable where you have, I think it's in Daniel, where you have the head made of gold, and forgive me if I get this incorrect because I'm just coming off the hip right now, but the head made of gold, the breastplate made of silver, and the arms made of brass, and the feet were made with iron mixed with clay. It's easy to smash something like that, and it's easy for the movement to come down no matter how much it glitters at the top. We're looking to build from the bottom up and make sure that what's at the top is only a sentinel, a light, the third eye, the all-eye-seeing that can be interchangeable, because any one of us, like a cell, can actually go to the top. So we definitely want to make sure that we participate in something like this, or at least give your hand to it and let us know what you think about it at the very least. So we're going to go ahead and get ready for our next guest after the break. But first, we're going to go ahead and take a short break, be right back with you, and come in with Ambrose Reed Horton from Hop U Multimedia Magazine, the managing editor, and go over what we're doing to change the game in hip-hop. And it's not just about the music. It's about a whole lot more. So then stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break and come in with Ambrose Reed Horton from Hop U Multimedia Magazine. Stay.
It's just another day. Thankful I'm alive, cause busters stuck with salt in my game as I strive to survive. Can't stand their jealousy. Hate to see a dope brother flexing on the radio.
What if God were one of us? That's right. Your favorite show is back on the air and is now on Inner Light Radio, the healing frequency. Join me, your host Adeeb Shabazz, as I and various metaphysically oriented guests discuss our God nature and explore the divinity within each of us. Tune in live each and every Thursday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for an hour of mental elevation. The What If God Were One of Us show, Freedom Path Radio production, now on www.innerlightradio.com.
How long is it?
And we're back. Thank you for staying with us. And as promised, I have with me Ambrose Reed Horton II, managing editor of Hop U Multimedia Magazine. He is definitely a dynamic individual, and he's going to let you know what's going on with publication that I'm blessed to be a part of, blessed to be publisher of, and I would love for somebody else to actually, articulate what's going on, because it comes off better, so much better when I hear it from someone else. And none better than Ambrose Reed Horton II, who is over the day-to-day operations of this magazine. Ambrose, welcome.
Thank you for having me. And it's good to have to hear your show back on the air. That's a big thing right there.
Thank you. Good to be back. Good to be back. So now, first of all, let everybody know what Hop U Multimedia Magazine is. What is it about? Why do we need another hip-hop publication? What is this going to do for the listener, for the hip-hop fan?
Well, that's interesting. Honestly, the first thing to address in what you just asked, which I'm sure is going to be key for everyone to understand, is that the main thing that is causing the rifts or the imbalance in hip hop as a whole is the absence of the totality of what hip hop actually is. The presentation of hip hop, if you speak to the average person, they'll speak on, this rapper, that rapper, this MC, who's the best MC, this era of hip hop, this era of that hip hop rap, blah, blah, blah. However, as we know, the holistic aspect of hip hop consisted of 4 elements, and some will argue the 5th. But in the elements that are missing, that also is a derivative to one of the reasons why the hip hop that we hear on the radio, or the hip hop that we are most commonly known to recognize, is imbalanced. Hip hop as a whole started with a DJ, Kool Herc, performing a basic, a party so that he could, get school supplies for his sister in a safe environment where no guns were allowed, no improper activity or behavior. So from that root, we can see that, hip hop is more than just who's the best rapper, who's the most famous rapper, who's the most financially successful rapper. Those things are a part of hip hop, and absolutely we can embrace and we can recognize that. But the problem with hip hop media and the general consensus of hip hop is that that is all that they hear. So Hip Hop U's approach is to offer people the information and the bridge to those other areas of hip hop that some have forgotten, some have never known. But in either case, we want people to embrace those things and also to return that glory to its proper place. Because our youth, when they have limitations, they are going to be forced to do things that we may not agree with to obtain, means of fame or fortune or success. However, we all know we can go back to many old school heads who have found success in their breakdancing talents, in their graffiti art, in their DJing. And that is something that we need to give back to our youth so that they have more outlets to express themselves and so that they have more means to obtain some type of craft or skill that enables them to better themselves. For me, especially personally, hip hop was a interesting element. Hip hop, I loved to dance when I was young, so I was definitely a b-boy at heart. I also used to throw up bombs. And I was, most importantly, I was an MC. I dabbled in the production aspects, but I never actually embraced the DJing like I could have. However, that idea, just the fact that I was a part of those elements socially, is something that's few and far in between these days. We can name breakers who are breaker. And they have the Red Bull breaking contest. They have the graffiti murals where it's allowed legally to do your graffiti. However, the goal is to bridge all of these different mediums back together, provide people with a resource where they can always go and find out about these various mediums of hip-hop, engage themselves in it, and give them an opportunity to have that balance in their lives, which will then give more balance to the actual hip-hop community. We're not trying to fight against the stream. We're not trying to swim upstream. We're not trying to run or ice skate uphill. But instead, what we're trying to do is we're just trying to go with the flow and just here and there throw more information in than what is already given by any other source. We're not going to focus only on the old school or only on the classics. We're not going to only focus on the b-boying and the DJing and the graffiti. We're going to throw in some Lil Wayne because whether we like him or not, he is hip-hop. Whether we like Meek Mills or not, he is hip-hop. And the fact of the matter is that as long as we denounce the youth who embrace these artists without giving them other elements to balance out that view, then we are just as responsible for the condition of hip-hop as the mainstream, as far as the mainstream is concerned, as those older heads who used to condemn the early MCs for, that's not real music. You got the old guy with the Applejack hat and the bell-bottoms on who was a disco head who would then insult the b-boys because he couldn't relate. Oh, that's not the real thing. When the truth of the matter is, as we understand, hip-hop is universal. Anyone can express themselves through any aspect of hip-hop in any way that they see fit. What we just want to do is say, hey, as long as you're being you, be you. But, just so you understand a better you, we're going to give you aspects of yourself and some integrity of your history that you may not know about or that you may have forgotten. And it's funny if you think we talk about the four elements, but just how naturally it evolved from the simple basis of the ways in which people learn. You have auditory learners, you have visual learners, you have kinesthetic learners. And for each one of those aspects of learning, there is actually an element that corresponds to that. So the idea of educating people, anyone who wants to participate in hip-hop has to have some type of learning. No one just steps to the mic and just spits the illest rhyme. No one just gets in the circle and just drops, up rocks and just kills it. It takes practice, it takes effort, it takes skill, it takes time. That's a learning process. So you can see how different people will gravitate to different aspects of the hip-hop culture and have fun with that and grow with that and can actually, invest in themselves to do something with that. So Hip-Hop U's goal, the U representing first the universality of hip-hop, that it's available for anyone, anywhere to engage in and utilize to the best of their ability to reach whatever goal they're trying to reach through it. Then there's the U, meaning university, meaning that we're going to provide an education. We're going to make sure that the knowledge maintains the foundation of it. We don't want people to ignore it. We don't want people to pretend like that's not an important element. Knowledge is very important. Knowledge of self, knowledge of your history, knowledge of the culture of hip-hop beyond just the basis of those elements. The Black historical aspects of what it has done. These are things that people don't talk about and don't hear about too often. So Hip-Hop U's goal is to provide that. And of course, finally, in relation to the you in Hip-Hop U, it's actually you, the individual. Because we want you to embrace hip-hop from your perspective. We want you to see hip-hop from your perspective, and we want other people to see the individuality of hip-hop so that there is that diversity that is needed that helps hip-hop grow and expand and continue to be what it's meant to be.
Man, that is powerful. That is powerful. I could not have said that better myself. You laid that out wonderfully. And for those of you just joining us, by the way, we're talking to Ambrose Reed Horton II, the managing editor of Hip Hop U Multimedia Magazine here on the What If God Were One of Us show. And I know for many, they would say, well, what does that have to do with What If God Were One of Us? We are the creators of our reality. And what the brother just laid out is creating our reality. See, going from Kool Herc, August 11th, 1973, that party that he threw, he took control over his environment. He wanted to raise some money for his sister to go to college. Again, something that was a positive step. Hip hop started on a very positive step, a very positive note. It was a controlled environment. If you see the very crudely made but well-made flyers that were put out, it was very restrictive. I don't have it in front of me, but I know you couldn't be under 16. I know you couldn't be over a certain age. I think 18, as a matter of fact. I mean, it was very controlled. 18, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, controlled environment. No foolishness was allowed. And again, going from there to one of the other milestones, which was the Universal Zulu Nation, started by Africa Bambaataa, who was inspired by Kool Herc. He also made a transformation, not for only himself, but for the Black Spades gang that he was a very prominent member of, in that he transformed them into the Universal Mighty Zulu Nation. And by doing so, took them out of the game of criminal activity into something that was positive. So we're looking to make changes through hip hop and keep that torch going. And what better way than what the brother just laid out? What better way than actually reintroducing those four elements and, as he said, arguably 5 elements back to the community, because most don't even know about that. Most think it's about the battles, as he said. So then, Ambrose, getting back to you.
Yes.
When should we expect to see Hip Hop U Multimedia Magazine? Can I get it now? Can we look to see it in the near future? How can I get more information about Hip Hop U Multimedia Magazine?
Well, we are a work in progress. We're building step by step, stone by stone. You can actually, we're campaigning heavily on Facebook and Twitter. You can go to facebook.com/hiphopu.me, or you can go to twitter.com/hiphopumag. We try to engage people with a little bit of what we're talking about on this show in a more social media friendly format, as opposed to the more editorial and informational magazine format that we will be working towards producing in the very near future. We're hoping to get that to you sometime this fourth quarter, perhaps October, November at the latest. We are pushing very hard to have a Kickstarter campaign go in full effect sometime within the next 7 to 10 days at the latest. And what that Kickstarter program will do will enable us to go beyond the social media spectrum and allow all of the players that are involved in this to be able to actually produce what we're talking about. The social media aspect is obviously an easy medium for us to introduce ourselves, but we can't really exploit the information that we want to convey without having some type of self-contained format, or what we call a multimedia magazine. And the reason why we call it a multimedia magazine is because, yes, it will be in the format of a print magazine, although we will not be offering it in print form immediately. We will be offering it as a digital format, which will be available through whatever smart device that you are a practitioner of using, whether it's an iPhone or an iPad or Kindle, etc. But along with that, through our website, hiphopu.me, we anticipate growing into having interviews with important figures in hip-hop from all levels, from the old to the new, promoting a lot of the underserved hip-hop community in terms of getting their exposure that they need. We'll be getting into doing some various hip-hop podcasts. We're going to push harder for a Hip Hop U radio show. And also we have individuals such as True Father, who has the True School radio station already in play. So you can catch him as he does his show periodically on a weekly basis. We are really going hard, and we're not playing at all. Not in the slightest.
Excellent. And just for those who don't know, Kickstarter is a crowdfunding campaign looking to go ahead and raise some funds for Hip Hop U Multimedia Magazine. As Ambrose said, I'm going to be starting somewhere next week, next 7 to 10 days at the latest. And we definitely need support for this magazine. In order for it to become a reality, we definitely need support. So it's an opportunity for you to invest in this magazine. And when I say invest, I mean $1, I mean $10, I mean $20, $50. Some have 1,000 out there. Hey, whatever you have, the more the merrier. But don't be afraid by the word invest, because even $1 or $5 helps a lot. And you're able to go ahead and just give what you can, and also receive something back for it. This is not a donation. There are rewards for the gifts that you give. So by all means, check it out when it does come out. We're going to be previewing that shortly. And you get a lot back, anywhere from T-shirts to your name in print to actually being an honorary editor or honorary publisher, depending upon your level of donation. We've got mixtapes and everything available for these rewards. So definitely take a look at it. It's a way to help a worthy cause that is transformational. And again, we really need some type of transformational tool in the community. We need a transformational tool that the youth are going to grasp onto. I was on my way back from Atlanta this weekend, and I got into a taxi cab. It was an older Caucasian driver, about in his mid-50s, and he was speaking about the state of Savannah as I was coming back into Savannah, Georgia. Mm. And just saying that there's nothing for the youth to do. I mean, this is an older white man listening to country music, but he knows. He sees there's nothing for the youth to do. As we're riding through what would be called the hood, he says, they wonder why a kid will snatch a bike. He's like, but he has nothing to do. He said, Savannah is not doing anything for our youth. And he said they should bring some hip hop concerts to the park that we have called Forsyth Park. For those of you who are familiar with Forrest Gump Forrest Gump was sitting in front of Forsyth Park in the movie waiting for the bus. So that's that place right there. And, we have a huge park, which is concert ready. And they do have concerts, but nothing really directed toward the youth most of the time. We really have to go ahead and get back into that. We really have to be able to provide in whatever city that you're in, because I'm taking Savannah for an example just because this just happened to me. But I know things like that happen to each of us. And, it's one of those things where you can say even Stevie Wonder can see what's happening here. It is very clear that we need to take control over our environment because the governments are not going to. Corporations don't care to. It's up to us. So let's do something. And I'm glad, Ambrose, that you are able to articulate exactly what's going on with Hip Hop U Multimedia Magazine. When are we due out? When are we due to go to publication?
We expect to have our first issue of Hip Hop U in late October to November. It's completely contingent upon the Kickstarter format that we're pushing. That platform is going to lead us into that. So we want to take that step first, get the revenue needed to provide all of the details so that this magazine can be successfully established, because obviously we want to give you the best product we can. So once we have that in place, and that's going to be a 30-day campaign. So the day that starts, we're trying to have the magazine 30 days after its completion, within 30 days after its completion. So at the latest, we're expecting to have it by late October to November. And you will find that magazine available on a monthly basis going thereafter. So definitely keep your ear to what we're saying on any of the social medias. Just definitely, like our page. That's very important because most of the information and news updates will be primarily through there, because that is our primary means of communication to our masses and all of our fans. Right now, we're looking at approaching 500 likes. We'd like to get to 1,000 likes within the next week. So I'm asking that everyone who is already a supporter of Hip Hop U Multimedia Magazine on Facebook, pass it on to your group of friends and pass it on to all of your associates and let them know what we're trying to do, why we're trying to do it, and the importance of it. Get them involved, get them to like it. And I'm also asking anyone who's listening who has not yet gone to the page, that's facebook.com/hiphopu.me. Go there, like it. Already been putting on there. We've been active since the 40th anniversary of hip hop, so we have a lot of content in passing that is on there, as much informational as there is entertainment. So it's definitely a balanced plethora for people's palates. So don't be afraid to go there, and don't think you're only going to find one-sided preachy content. It's not like that. One of the most important things that we try to remember in putting this together is that just as it was a party in the beginning, it was all about the party for a long time. We want to maintain the fun aspect of what hip hop embodies. And we want to bring the fun back to people. We want to bring back it's okay to smile and have a good time and dance. Not only dance as a female, to twerk to get attention, but actually to dance because you're having fun and the DJ is getting it in, and he's doing it bad. So we are all over the place with capturing the essence of hip hop, packaging it nice and neatly, and then giving it to you to feed on. And, I know you're hungry. I know everybody's been hungry because, to quote, Raekwon, I've been waiting on it. So I've been waiting to hear and see something like this done. And it just took a few conversations with Adeeb and I. He had this grand vision. And I was casually speaking on a similar premise of approaching to do something that would, number one, bridge the gaps in hip hop, and we dialogued back and forth, and, it finally came like, well, maybe this is it. Maybe this is the time. And obviously, for lack of a better term, stars lined up, stars being the individuals who are participating in this. And actually, while I'm at that point, I just want to give a shout out to those individuals. I mentioned True Father, yourself, me. We have Wise Unique Say Love, Kimandi Patterson, James Mayfield, Misa Julian. These are all the quote unquote backbones or the pillars of the Hip Hop U Multimedia Magazine. They're all stars in this universe, and they're making it happen for us. So, I'm glad to be a part of such a massive endeavor, and I just want to make sure that everybody knows that this is coming from the heart to the heart. So this is really serious. This is very personal for each and every one of us. We're all in it because we love hip hop, because we love the hip hop community, and because we also love our youth. And we understand that if the youth are engaged in hip hop, we have to make sure that hip hop is properly nourished. It's a properly and balanced diet. Otherwise, whatever happens with the youth, we're responsible because we let it happen. Point blank.
That's true. That is very true. And, it's up to us to make that change. We our youth are our future. And what are we going to do about it? Really briefly before we close, because the time went quickly, but got a chance to talk to Kumo D.
Yes.
And Brother Jay. Kumo D, known from the Treacherous Three and also his solo career in the 70s and 80s. Yeah. And Brother Jay from the 80s to 90s of X-Clan and also of solo fame. Great brothers in hip-hop, transformational brothers who are very intellectual and very entrepreneurial. And they definitely love what we're doing with Hip Hop U. They're looking to go ahead and make their contributions. So we are reaching out to those pillars of the hip hop community, and they are responding well. And we're looking for the biggest pillars, which are you, the listeners. And I mean you, the listeners, anyone who's within the sound of my voice and then the sound of Ambrose's voice. If you're not listening to hip hop, your children likely are. And we definitely want to go ahead and make sure that we take the reins so that we can show them what hip hop really is about and really should be. So it's up to us to put the clean glass next to the dirty glass so we can see what's really offered rather than preaching about a dirty glass.
Exactly.
That's what we're doing here with Hip Hop U Multimedia Magazine. So I thank you, Ambrose, for definitely laying this out for us. Once again, for those of you who want to go ahead and check it out, we have Facebook.com. I'm used to my old URL. Facebook.com/hiphopu.me. You can definitely go there, like the page. Please do. We're looking to get to those 1,000 likes. We've got information that we're going to be updating you on Kickstarter, as well as a lot of hip hop history and hip hop news happening right now, because there's a lot of positive things happening with those 4 pillars we mentioned. And we have the Twitter, just to reiterate what Ambrose said. The Twitter is at HipHopUMag. That's MAG. So hip hop, the letter U, MAG. So
and
go ahead.
Just to add on to that, actually, if there's anyone who has any interest in offering their services, to aid in the cultivation of this mag, our email address is info@hiphopu.me. Shoot us an email if you want to add on any individual articles that you've written. If you have any ideas for podcasts, whatever, shoot an email to us, let us know, and we'll work with you. We're open to work with anybody because we want this to be a communal event. We want this to be a communal affair, and we want everybody involved as much as possible, from the smallest scale to the largest grandiose position. So reach out to us, and we're open to work with whomever, whenever, however, wherever.
Right, and just to go ahead and cap that off also, speaking of that, info@hiphopu.me if you are also interested in being what we're going to have as Hip Hop U ambassadors. And that is just people who are going to be the heart of this movement, the heart of this magazine, those who want to represent hip hop as a whole and really get to be a part of hip hop in an active way. We're going to have Hip Hop U ambassadors. Basically, what that means is you're going to be a representative, and it doesn't cost anything. and the payment is in the results. So
Exactly.
it doesn't take a whole lot. All it takes is wanting to participate and just being there to share the word. We're going to organize that so that you actually have information that you can share. So again, info@hiphopu.me if you're interested in that. We're going to have more information also on the Facebook page and on Twitter. So go ahead and like Twitter, Hip Hop U Mag, and facebook.com/hiphopu.me for more information. It's been great, Ambrose, and looks like we're coming to a close shortly. I hope that every one of you enjoyed this and hope that you'll be joining us next week. We'll have some fantastic new guests. I'm not going to announce them right now because we have a couple of people that we're working on schedules with. Definitely check me out on Facebook. I'm Adeeb Shabazz. That's ADEEB SHABAZZ. I'm available at facebook.com/Adeeb.Shabazz.author, and also like What If God Were One of Us on Facebook. Thank you very much for joining us today. We enjoyed having you and look forward to coming back again. Peace to everybody. Peace to you, Ambrose.
Peace.
And
peace, God.
Thank you.